There seemed to be no use in waiting by the little door, so she went back to the table, half hoping she might find another key on it, or at any rate a book of rules for shutting people up like telescopes. This time, she found a little bottle on it.
"Which certainly was not here before,"
said Alice, and round the neck of the bottle was a paper label, with the word "Drink Me" beautifully printed on it in large letters. This was all very well to say, "Drink me," but the wise little Alice was not going to do that in a hurry.
"No, I'll look first,"
she said,
"and see whether it's marked poison or not."
For she had read several nice little histories about children who had got burned and eaten up by wild beasts and other unpleasant things, all because they could not remember the simple rules their friends had taught them, such as that a red-hot poker will burn you if you hold it too long, and that if you cut your finger very deeply with a knife, it usually bleeds, and she had never forgotten that. If you drink much from the bottle marked poison, it is almost certain to disagree with you sooner or later. However, this bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it and find it very nice. It had, in fact, a sort of mixed flavor of cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, coffee, and hot buttered toast. She very soon finished it off.
"Oh, what a curious feeling,"
said Alice.
"I must be shutting up like a telescope."
And so it was indeed. She was now only 10 inches high, and her face brightened up at the thought that she was now the right size of going through the little door into the lovely garden. First, however, she waited for a few minutes to see if she was going to shrink any further. She felt a little nervous about this.
"For it might end, you know,"
said Alice to herself.
"in my going out altogether, like a candle. I wonder what I should be like then."
And she tried to fancy what the flame of a candle is like after the candle is blown out, for she could not remember ever having seen such a thing. After a while, finding that nothing more happened, she decided on going into the garden at once. But, alas for poor Alice, when she got to the door, she found she had forgotten the little golden key. And when she went back to the table for it, she found she could not possibly reach it. She could see it quite plainly through the glass, and she tried her best to climb up one of the legs of the table. But it was too slippery, and when she had tried herself out with trying, the poor little thing sat down and cried.
"Come, there's no use in crying like that,"
said Alice to herself, rather sharply.
"I advise you to leave off this minute."
She generally gave herself very good advice, though she very seldom followed it. And sometimes she scolded herself so severely as to bring tears into her eyes. And once she remembered trying to box her own ears for having cheated herself in a game of croquet he was playing against herself. But this curious child was very fond of pretending to be two people.
"But it's no use now,"
thought poor Alice,
"to pretend to be two people. Why, there's hardly enough of me left to make one respectable person."
Soon, her eye fell on the little glass box that was lying under the table. She opened it and found in it a very small cake, on which the words, "Eat me," were beautifully marked in currants.
"Well, I'll eat it,"
said Alice.
"and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key. And if it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door. So either way, I'll get into the garden. And I don't care which happens."
She ate a little bit and sat anxiously to herself,
"Which
holding
way?
her hand on the top
Which
of her
way?
head to feel which way it was growing. And she was quite surprised to find that she remained the same size. To be sure, this generally happens when one eats cake, but Alice had got so much into the way of expecting nothing but out-of-the-way things to happen that it seemed quite dull and stupid for life to go on in a common way. So she set to work, and very soon finished off the cake.
Curiouser and curiouser,
cried Alice. She was so much surprised that for the moment she quite forgot how to speak good English.
Now I'm opening out like the largest telescope that ever was. Goodbye, feet.
But when she looked down at her feet, they seemed to be almost out of sight. They were getting so far off.
Oh, my poor little feet. I wonder who will put on your shoes and stockings for you now, dears. I'm sure I shan't be able. I shall be a great deal too far off to trouble myself about you. You must manage the best way you can. But I must be kind to them,
thought Alice.
Or perhaps they won't walk the way I want to go. Let me see. I'll give them a new pair of boots every Christmas.
And she went on planning to herself how she would manage it.
They must go by the carrier,
she thought.
And how funny it'll seem sending presents to one's own feet, and how odd the directions will look. Alice's right foot, ESQ, hearthrug, near the fender with Alice's love. Oh dear, what nonsense I'm talking.
Just then, her head struck against the roof of the hall. In fact, she was now more than 9 feet high, and she at once took up the little golden key and hurried off to the garden door. Poor Alice. It was as much as she could do, lying down on one side, to look through into the garden with one eye, but to get through